coaches who need to show us something this year. Do we exempt Gruden from this draft? Because it's a given. He may not need to show Mark Davis anything, but I think he needs to show us something.
Well, I mean, I just figured. I thought really
he's in the draft.
I would think he was in the
he's
draft,
eligible.
right?
He's eligible. It's not the John Gruden Memorial Draft.
Knowing you, I thought you would have drafted him like all 3 rounds. Really, I mean, from the way you talk about him, so I didn't know. All right, you ready?
Do you have a question for me?
Who was the first head coach that hired John Gruden as an assistant? First head coach that hired John Gruden as an assistant.
Oh, it was Mike Holmgren, 1992. He had been at Pitt. It wasn't Mike Holmgren?
No, it was George Seifert who had Mike Holmgren on the staff in San Francisco, right? So So
he was at Pitt before then. That was a trick question. All right, you got the first pick.
Okay, there we go. Here we go. All right. I think right off the bat, to me, the clear and obvious one is Zach Taylor. I think that's the big one. You know, again, we're going to the year 3. Yeah, Joe Burrow got hurt last year and all of that and everything. But, hey, listen, we also could sit here and say, hey, that's part of the way he was coaching. You guys were playing. You were living dangerously doing that type of stuff. Yeah, it's a huge year. You know, they got some little talent on the roster. You know, he should have been able to implement his culture and things like that by this point, to where you got to start seeing some positive results. And I'm not even saying playoffs, because we know that's an unbelievable division, but just that it's like going in the right direction to where, they're going to be competitive and a pain in the butt. If he can get to 500 somewhere in that area, right, I think that would go a long way. I think it's a big year for him.
Rumors were rampant last year that he was out after his second season, to the point where the Bengals issued a statement on the Monday after the season ended to say he'll be back. The one wild card reality with the Bengals, they don't like to pay coaches to not work. So if he has guaranteed money beyond this year, you know, he still needs to show us something, but he may not be shown the door after 1 year, depending upon what his contract says for 2022. Cliff Kingsbury's top of my list. All the indications, the Cardinals expect to take the next step this year. And when you look at the history of the Cardinals organization, which has been around for 100 years, there's only 2 guys who have made it 6 years as head coach of the Cardinals, Jim Hanifin and Ken Wisenhunt. No one else has made it 6 years. This is year 3 for Cliff Kingsbury, and I think it's 3 and out for Kingsbury if they don't make it to the playoffs, even though they're in the toughest division in football. When you hear the things that are said by guys like Steve Keim and Kyler Murray, this is on Kingsbury if he can't put this collection of talent in position to get to the postseason. So he's got to show us and the Cardinals that he can get it done this year.
Yeah, agreed. I think he would, if you would have taken Zach Taylor that would have been my next pick, is what I was saying. I'm with you. Yeah, we got to see something. You can't see end of the year letdown like we saw last year too, where they kind of just, we're not nearly the same team we saw in the first half of the year. All right, man, I don't like picking this guy here, but I just think it's a big year for him. I mean, again, it's a year 3 guy. That's the theme of this draft right now is Vic Fangio. I got to go there, even though I don't know if it's definitely deserving of like putting some of the blame and things that have happened there. I mean, first off, I'd like to argue that, he hasn't had a quarterback there to help and give him much of a fighting chance since he's been the head coach there with the Denver Broncos. So that's one issue. It's hard, but regardless, it is year 3. He's a defensive guru. We know that, everything. The defense has some talent. We saw them play pretty damn good football last year. But yeah, that quarterback situation, Drew Lock, their win-loss record, I do. I think it's a big year. Again, I don't know if you would agree with this. I don't know if they got to get in the playoffs, but I think they got to be close at least, or in the conversation the last 2 or 3 weeks of the year. Or Vic Fangio is certainly going to hear, should we keep him another year type questions and rumors out there.
I think anything other than 8-9, anything lower than 8-9, he's in real trouble. New GM who inherited the coach.
That's
new
right
GM
too.
Has been around for a long time, and he's carrying around a list of the guys he wants to hire to be the coach. That's how it works, and Vic Fangio's name probably not on that list. Next one for me, I'm going Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
I just think with all the hype with the Cowboys, Dak Prescott's back, defense is better. He's the guy that hired Mike Nolan last year, or at least was ultimately the head coach if somebody else made the decision to hire Mike Nolan and completely screw up the defense. Now it's Dan Quinn. I don't think the Cowboys would fire him after 2 years, but who knows? But America's team, guy who's won a Super Bowl, guy who's trying to show it wasn't his fault in Green Bay that they never got back. He's got to show us something in year 2 with the Cowboys.
I agreed. I mean, he was on my list too. There's no doubt. I mean, the way last year looked was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. There's no other way to say it. I mean, and I know that he's not in charge of hiring everything and doing all of those type of things. But, I mean, again, he is the head coach. The defense was an absolute disaster. You know, he had history with Mike Nolan. I'm sure he was a big reason he was there because they were in San Francisco together. So, you know, okay, that was a disaster. Offensively, yeah, they were doing some positive things, but let's not forget some of the damn botched end-of-the-game situations he had too. So I'm with you there. All right, I'm going to go with Urban Meyer as my third pick. I am. Not, again, I don't expect playoffs or anything like that, but I want to see, I got to see, so I just want to see if he's going in the right direction, if he really can handle NFL life. He's going to lose some games. His team won't be the most talented on the field most weeks, all those type of things. I'm very interested to see how that experiment goes in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree with you. And let's cap it with the birthday boy. Obviously, this is year 4 for John Gruden. He hovered over the NFL for 9 years while he was doing Monday Night Football. There was a presumption he was going to be a lot better than he's been so far. 19-29 in 48 games since he's been back. Tough division, tough conference. It's going to be a tall order to get to the playoffs, and I don't even think he's got to get to the playoffs.
Right.
Just get to 9-8. Just show us that you're ready to really make the push next year. Ultimately, Mark Davis makes the call. I think he's going to keep him. But the rest of us, we're getting a little skeptical about whether or not John Gruden just kind of stumbled his way into a Super Bowl championship, and he's been riding the fumes of that ever since.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.